The Bernie Sanders campaign is trying a new strategy to try to derail Hillary Clinton's presidential ambitions, taking on her huge lead in superdelegates, the Democratic Party leaders and elected officials who also get to choose the nominee. Right now, Clinton has, get this, 469 superdelegates. Bernie Sanders has 29. The Sanders campaign thinks if it can close the gap in regular delegates by the end of the primaries, some of those superdelegates might come over to his side. Let's bring in Karine Jean-Pierre, a Democratic strategist, and Lisa Booth, a Republican strategist and contributor to the Washington Examiner. Karine, let's start with you because you have, some history in unraveling how all of this would work in Democratic politics. It's a little different for both parties. How can Bernie Sanders say, okay, you superdelegates, you really should come over to me and not vote for Hillary Clinton when it comes convention time?
Hey, John, great to see you. So there's also 243 superdelegates that are completely uncommitted, while Secretary Clinton has 469. So here's the thing. I think the argument, the case that they're trying to make is, look, they have the late-breaking momentum, which is great for him, as we're seeing with his last 3 big wins this past weekend. And also,
well, they were 3 sort of smaller state wins.
Yeah, caucus.
I don't want to insult you, Alaska, but you don't have a lot of delegates.
That's true, but by big margins nonetheless. And then he has this intangible quality among their voters, right, which is enthusiasm. When I worked on the 2008 Obama campaign, we recognized and we saw and we experienced the importance of having motivated and engaged voters. And also he has, as we've been seeing over and over again, he has these new young voters, this critical voting bloc that is very important if you are looking to expand the base and if Democrats want to win in the general election. And finally, let's not forget about these national polls for the general election, where Sanders is outperforming Hillary Clinton against Trump by 20 points in the last poll that just came out just a couple of days ago to her 12. And so the message that he has going forward right now, this for the moment, to these superdelegates is like, hey, if you want to continue the Obama legacy, right, if you want to continue the Obama agenda, then a vote for Sanders is what is needed. But I think, look, John, I think at the end of the day, it's really important for Senator Sanders to get to the convention. The reason why is because I was going to say the reason why is because, look, if he doesn't get to those numbers, right, if he doesn't make it to those numbers, he can be at the convention and do what Hillary Clinton did in 2008, which is talk to her voters, talk to her supporters and say, hey, we need to pivot, we need to support Obama. I think the question now is, though, will the Bernie Sanders supporters vote for and come out for Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, Lisa, this must do your Republican heart good because there's been all kinds of, consternation over the possibility of a contested convention for the Republicans with maybe nobody having the clear number of Republican delegates needed to win the nomination on the first round. Now, all of a sudden, Bernie is talking about walking into the Democratic convention and saying, okay, I know that Mrs. Clinton might have more delegates, but I have the momentum and I have the polls. Lisa, how does that sound to you?
Well, look, sadly, I think this is just spin coming from the Sanders campaign. I think his chances of winning the nomination outright are about as slim as the straws that he's grasping at with wanting to pick up these superdelegates. But the problem for Hillary Clinton is the fact that Bernie Sanders has pushed her to the left on a variety of issues. I mean, name the issue, and Hillary Clinton's been on a different side of it throughout her time as a candidate and throughout her time in politics. Further, it's exposed a lot of her weaknesses. As my Democrat counterpart just pointed out earlier, her problem with millennial voters, which was a key demographic, a key voting bloc for Barack Obama when he ran. Further, her problems with the liberal base. And Bernie Sanders himself has said that he is not going quietly. So he's going to propose a big problem for Hillary Clinton and making her continue to fight this out, continue to battle out, and continue to push her further to the left on a variety of issues.
Well, Karine, explain those polls. I mean, nobody has said that Donald Trump is going to be the Republican nominee. But whether Trump is the nominee or somebody else, if Bernie is outpolling Hillary Clinton in the polls against Donald Trump, that's a bad sign for Hillary Clinton as frontrunner, isn't it?
Well, she's also beating Donald Trump in the polls as well. So it's not just Bernie Sanders. He just happens to be outperforming her. So I think that the important thing is that the Democrat is beating Donald Trump at the polls in the general election. So I think that's what is important there. And so I think the problem is for the Republicans, not for us, if we have our two contending Democrats beating their potential nominee.
But all right, so Lisa, so Bernie goes to the Democratic delegates and superdelegates and says, hey, I'm really better than Hillary Clinton is, despite what you may think and despite where you are committed?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's not going quietly. He has said this himself. I mean, look, for Bernie Sanders, this is about principle, not about winning. For Hillary Clinton, this is only about winning, not about principle. As I mentioned earlier, name the issue. She's been on every side about it. Hillary Clinton is not rooted into any ideology or anything that she actually believes. All she cares about is winning, and she'll do anything and say anything to try to accomplish that goal. But Hillary Clinton is facing some incredibly difficult problems. Look at even just the recent reports that there are, 147 different FBI agents that are dedicated to investigating her at this current moment. The fact that the FBI has given one staffer immunity, they're going to be talking to others. They might even be talking to her as well. The probe has been opened up to even look at the Clinton Foundation. So Hillary Clinton is facing not only these potential legal battle, but also the big problems with the liberal base and millennial voters that we've seen throughout this contest, and also just the fact that the majority of Americans and Democrats themselves do not trust Hillary Clinton, and with good reason.
Both parties are going to be facing some interesting convention moments this summer, or so it sounds. Lisa Booth, Karine Jean-Pierre, thank you.
Thank you, John.